Hi there, I would like to introduce you to the Metatrader 4 trading platform. I want to show you some of the basics that Metatrader 4 can do. It's a great trading platform, it's free. If you have a broker in mind, you can go to your broker's website and download it from there. If you do not have a broker in mind and you do not have an MT4 platform, I'm going to show you exactly where to get it. So we're going to start with our website. We're going to go to the metatrader4.com website. This is the Metatrader 4 website and this big orange button, free download. You click this and it's going to download an MT4 setup.exe file. Save that onto my desktop. If there, we're going to have the MP4 setup file. So I'm going to double click this just to get us started. Metatrader 4 Client Terminal, welcome to Metatrader 4 Setup. So next, click Yes, I agree. Next, I don't want to launch the MQL5, but I do want to create a desktop shortcut. And I do want to launch the program. This is where it's going to save it on your computer. The program files, Metatrader 4. So, next. This green line has loaded. So we've got finish. And it is as simple as that. It is going to launch the Metatrader 4 platform. So this is what we're going to get when we've launched the platform. It'll launch itself automatically, and this is what pops up. Now we have a default sort of setting here. We've got this is what you're going to be presented, with several charts and some open windows and an open an account option here. What I want to do is I'm going to close this down just so I can show you the process here. I'm not going to open an account just yet. I'll go to File in the upper left-hand corner. Click Open an Account and that window will pop up. Now we've got some servers here, we've got a couple of different servers. So I'm going to click the first one and click Next. And then it's going to ask me for some information. Now this is a brand new demo account and that's what you want is a demo account. So new demo account is already clicked. So I'm going to click Next and then you'll have this window that you want to fill out. After you filled out the window, I agree and then click Next. And now you are given a login, and the password and an investor password. The login and the password speak for themselves, that's how you're going to get into the platform. An investor password is something you can give to somebody else. You'll give them the login and the investor. So if you're trading they can see what you're doing, without being able to manipulate anything. Write this information down if you like, put it somewhere safe, click Finish. And now we have got a set of fully functional, you heard the bling noise. That's the data feed coming into the chart, you got a fully functional set of default charts. And that incoming mail, that's all part of the process. Now you can choose to use the little X to close the window, or you have some depressed buttons and we can undepress them by clicking them. And that will turn off or on some of these different paints. Alright, now you have got a blank slate. You're going to start from scratch, we're going to get some charts. We're going to put some indicators on it. I'm going to show you some windows and some very basic stuff what you can do with your charts, and so on. What you've got in front of you is a blank slate, there's no charts, there's no windows. There's no panes, there's nothing on your platform. This is as empty as it's going to get. We're going to start by applying some charts. Now they're going to be just naked charts. There's not going to be indicators or anything like that on them. And we will get to that. But first I'm going to choose this added chart. So we have this add chart. This new chart button, and from there I can pick a currency pair. We've got the Euro/USD, USD/Yen. We have a variety of other pairs and I'm going to show you something else here really soon. So I'm going to pick one, pound to US dollar. And this is the default chart, it's black chart with the white grid on it. The candles themselves aren't candles, it's a bar chart. And I'm going to zoom in using the magnifying glass, click and it'll zoom into the different chart. From here I want to set up candlestick charts. And we have those options across the top. This is the current bar chart. We can choose a candlestick chart or we can choose a line chart. I like the candlestick chart. The default time frame is the 1 hour and again you can change that. Simply by clicking the different time frames, so this is the 1 week, the 1 month, 1 day, 4 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, and 1 minute. I'm going to choose the 15 minute. So we've got the 15-minute bar chart. I can add a second chart, Euro/USD for example. So now I've got 2 charts, and at the bottom here you're going to see 2 different tabs. Got the Euro/USD tab, which is what we're looking at right now, and the Pound/USD tab. So I can switch from chart to chart by clicking on the different tabs. Now if I double click on a tab, I can minimize the charts a little bit. I can make them smaller, so that they fit inside the window. Now I generally like to have them full screen. And I'll do that again by double clicking on the tab, and that makes them full screen. And as I add different currency pairs, I will generally be scrolling through the different tabs at the bottom. This is your Market Watch window. I'm going to click that, it's going to open the window. There's a couple of different things about this window. We have the time of your broker. My current time is 9:45 a.m. But my broker's time is 6:45 in the morning. The broker's time and your time are generally not going to be the same. This is something you cannot adjust. Unfortunately, Metatrader 4 does not give you the option to adjust the time on the charts. I think every trader would like that option to be present, but it just isn't. This Market Watch window is the only place you're going to find your broker's time. Now we have, on here, several different charts. Our different currency pairs. When you have an open chart, this is the Pound/USD. I can drag a currency pair onto the chart and will change it. This is the USD/Swiss franc now. Now if I double click, and I have some blank space, I can drag the currency pair onto the blank space and it will add another chart. I can do this a couple of different times, as many times as I want. The broker is going to have several different currency pairs, more than what you see. Here we only have a very limited number of currency pairs. Now if you're looking for one that's not on here, chances are that the broker has it. They will have the data feed for it, but it's just not listed. What you want to do is anywhere on here, just right click. You click Show All. And it is now going to add all of the different currency pairs, plus depending on your broker, and this one has got different stocks as well. You might have all kinds of extra stuff, but you'll have lots of different currency pairs. We can create a window, big, small, so we have the different currency pairs, add them. If you like, the easiest way to do it is to just drag and drop them onto a blank spot on your platform here. Once you're done with that, click the little X to get rid of it. Or click the mark or watch window gets rid of it, double click on one of the tabs. It will full screen your charts, and then you can scroll through the different charts that you have. Now another thing you can do is you can reorder the charts. Simply by dragging the tabs and putting them wherever you like. You can modify your charts. These are the default charts, with the default colors. But they don't have to stay that way. You can take the grid off, you can put the grid on, you can change the color of the candles. You can increase the size. I'm going to magnify them a bit, unmagnify them. Demagnify them, make them smaller. I can right click on, not a candle but, just a blank spot on the chart. Let's do that. So this shows up, and then at the bottom we have Properties. The Properties window will pop up, and the first thing you're going to notice, the first tab is colored. The background color is black, the foreground is white. The foreground is going to be the numbers and so on the side. The grid, that's the grid that you see the squares in the back bar up. Now, this is going to be interesting. Let me zoom in a little bit, so we can see this better. So I'm going to zoom in, all right, so we'll do that again. Properties bar up is going to be a bull candle, outline, and the wicks. So if I change this to Dodger blue, you can see how in this preview window, how the candles are changing. All right. The bar down again is the outline of the bar in the wicks. Let's make that one red. The bull candle, that's the fill, so I'm going to make that one Dodger blue as well. And you can see how as I'm making the changes this preview window makes the changes as well. Bear candle, I will make that red and we can see how that works. Line, graph, volumes, ask lines, stock levels. I don't need to change anything else. I'm good, I'll click OK, and it will modify the candles. Now we have more things we can do. I'm going to go back, right click on the chart, click Properties. We have Common. Now generally what we're going to do for the Common tab, click off, Show Grid. Now we have other options. You can do this from different places. You can turn the grid off by doing this and the grid is off. The grid color is going to be this bid price line. This is where the price is right now. And it is going to move up and down as the price on the chart moves up and down. We have a couple of different buttons here that I want to show you. We've got the chart shift, and what that will do if I click it. It's going to move the chart over a little bit. This is chart shift line here, and I can drag this. There you go. I can drag this over into the middle of the chart or anywhere in the right hand side. And if I click that off, it'll go to the right hand side. If I click it on, it'll move to where this chart shift is. This is the auto scroll. I turn it off if I want to look back in history and I'm just dragging, clicking and dragging the chart. Now the auto scroll, if it's turned on as soon as there's a pip movement. As soon as the market makes a little movement, it'll pop back to where the auto scroll is or where the chart shift is. So I tried to move, and it just keeps popping back again. So if you want to look at something in the past, without it popping back all the time, you turn that off, and then you're free to move it. As you notice, as I'm moving the chart fills up the window. There'll be one spot that has a high and one spot that has a low, and it'll always maintain that. Got the high and the low, and they'll always be in the same areas, and as the price narrows the chart will widen to accommodate that, go back to the front. We have some tools that we can use now. We have a couple of drawing tools. The trend line is a drawing tool. I will use this diagonal tool. Here, this is my trendline tool, and I can click and drag and I can create a trend line, and then I can let go of the check line, and this will be my trend lines and angled line. Now you may not like the trend line to keep going on forever and ever. And that's what it does, so I'm going to double click on the trend line, and what you see are these little squares that pop up. These are called nodes. This means the trend line is selected. So what I can do is on the trend line I will right click and then I'll get Trendline Properties. Click that, and then from Parameters, this is the ray button, I can turn that off. And if I hit OK, you can see it goes from where you started to where you ended. If the ray is on, it will just project itself for eternity. I don't want that. So I'm going to have the ray button off again. I'm going to double click to deselect it. And now it's locked in place. I can't manipulate that trend line anymore. If I double click again to select it, I can take either end. And I can move the end. As such, if I grab the middle, the whole trend line will move. If I right click it while it's selected Trendline Properties, I can alter the trend line color and size. So I can change the color, let's go lime green. And then I can make it much thicker. OK. So I can make a thicker trend line. Trendline Properties. If you use the thinnest line, you have a couple of different styles. So you can use a dash or a dot or a dot dash or a dash dot dot. And apply that. Double click, unselect, and it's locked in place. The next one is a horizontal line. I can click and drag on the chart, and this is great for support resistance levels. Once I let go, it's locked in place and I can't do anything with it. I can double click anywhere on that line and it will select it, and you'll see the nodes. They pop up in either corner on either side, and from there I can move it around. Once I have it in place, double click, it locks it in place. And the same thing with this right click after you selected its horizontal line properties. I can change the color, I can change the thickness. If you make it thicker than that thinnest line, it's going to be a solid line. You can't make a thick dot or a thick dashed line. Now that is selected, I can choose the parameters. I can give it an actual price. So if I wanted to go to 26300, I can do that by putting in the values and I hit OK and it will move it to that exact price. It's still selected. Double click to deselect and there she goes. Now the same thing with the vertical line. Select, double click. Vertical line properties. Same thing, I can give it a certain time and date. I can give it a color thickness. Alright. Now I can select everything. Click to delete, just the one thing, or if they're all selected and I hit delete on my keyboard, everything gets deleted. The next thing I'd like to show you is the crosshair. It's right next to the cursor, so you're on the cursor, you can move back and forth. The crosshair. This is a cool tool. It is a click and drag kind of tool. What it does is it can show you three different pieces of information. Well, first of all, it shows you vertical and horizontal lines. So you can get an idea of support resistance levels. Or whatever the case is, but if you click and drag, there are sets of numbers that pop up right next to it. So if I do this, what I'm looking at is the first number next to the crosshair now is 6. So from where I initially clicked it to where I dragged it at 6 candles. So if I can move it over a little bit, 7 candles, 8 candles, 9, 10, 11 candles. The next number 45, 3, 4, 5, 3, that's 45.3 pips. So where I started, right click and drag, I'm 45.3 pips away. And notice if I go up, that number gets smaller and smaller. And then it'll start to increase as I go above, so we're looking at 46 pips away from the initial cursor. And then finally the last number 1.28 to 32. Where the crosshair is right now with the actual crosshair, that's the price on the chart. So if I click, I can see how this range was. For example, from the top to the bottom is 118.8 pips. And that was 10 candles, and at the bottom I'm looking at 1.24957, adds the price. You can use this tool for all kinds of things. Some traders use it to determine their stop loss levels. If they have got an entry and they want a stop loss to go underneath the swing low, we need to use crosshair to determine that. If the stop loss is going under here, that it's 77 pips away. If you have a scrolling mouse, one with a scrolling wheel, if you scroll backward, the chart goes backward. If you scroll forwards, the chart goes forwards. If you press your scroll wheel, not every mouse has the press of a wheel, but if you do, it will launch the crosshairs. What I want to show you now is how to apply an indicator to your chart. There are 3 ways to get to the indicator window. The most common way is through the actual indicator button. That's what this green plus is on this side. This is a new chart. This adds an indicator. So if I click the indicator button, I'm going to see the first few. These are in alphabetical order. But these are the most recently added indicators once you start adding them. Because you haven't added any yet, what's here is just in alphabetical order now. If I want to add a moving average, I will mouse over trend and then I will go over and mouse over moving average and go click, and now I get the properties box for the moving average. And I can choose what kind of moving average I want. I have a 14 period, let's make it exponential. Apply to the close. I'm going to make it lime green, I want it a little bit thicker. Alright. You can apply it to different things. Apply to open, to high, to low, the median price, typical price, weighted close, generally applying it to the close. You can shift it forward if you like or even backwards using this. Very rarely are moving averages shifted. You may or may not like to do that. Again, if you have the thinnest line you can choose dot dash. Whatever the case is, so I'm going to go OK. And I can add a moving average to my chart now. I can double click on the moving average. When I put my mouse over that, little box pops up, tells me what it is. I can double click on it and the properties box will pop up. And from there I can do the same thing that I wanted to do. I can change the parameters. I can change the period for 35. I can do that. I can change that. And then I can add another one. Now if I go back to the indicators, you'll see moving averages now at the very top because it was the one that I had just recently added. If I click this, I can add a new one, but it'll show me what the last settings were all instead of the previous one. So if I want to change that, I wanted to go 55. And I'll make a blue one. Hit OK. And I can add several moving averages. If I don't like one, I can right-click on it and then delete indicator. Now I'm going to show you a different way to get to it. We can go insert indicators and we get to that same window. This time I'm going to add an oscillator, relative strength index. Again, we can change what we want RSI. This is an oscillating indicator. It has its own window and it moves up and down within that window. I double-click on the line, opens up the properties levels. I can add different levels. This one comes with a default 30 and 70 level. I can add a 50 level, which is very common. I can remove certain levels, so I only want the 50 level. And this is what you get. We can modify it. Make the line thicker. However you want. I want to get rid of it. I can adjust the pane as well. I can grab the pane, the top of the pane, and move it narrow or wider. Or just simply get rid of it. So I can delete the indicator. Now what I'm going to do is right-click on the chart and it'll show me the indicators list. And these are the indicators I have in the chart. And if I have a lot of indicators, there'll be a lot of them there. So I can choose the relative strength index and I can edit it from there. The properties box will pop up. Or I can delete it. And it will delete once I hit close. There's one other way to add indicators. I said there was 3 ways. So we'll do that. This is the navigator window. And through the navigator window I have access to my accounts. And I have access to indicators, expert advisors and scripts. So in the indicators, I'll click on the little plus. It opens up 2 different indicators. Now if I want to add an indicator to a chart, I just drag and drop it onto the chart. I go trend and add parabolic SAR. So when drag and drop that onto the chart, the properties box will pop up. Now I have my indicator on the chart. And I can get rid of this navigator window by either clicking on the navigator tab or the little X. Got any questions? And if you're in the members area, you post in the forum. We're going to make sure that we help you every step of the way. Thanks for watching this MT4 tutorial video, and we'll talk to you soon on part 2. Bye bye.